folks. It's called sepsis, a life-threatening medical emergency where the body's response to an infection spirals out of control. Joining us this morning to share more details about this medical condition, University Hospital of the West Indies resident microbiologist, Dr. Lydia Miles-Saunders, and consultant microbiologist, Dr. Jerome Walker. Good morning to you both.
Hi, good morning.
Smile. They say ladies first, ma'am. Thanks for coming this
Thanks
morning.
for having me.
It is our absolute pleasure. Sepsis, explain.
Okay, so if I was going to make it a small topic where everybody could understand, it's almost like you have an infection. The infection more than likely has spread to the bloodstream, and your body's like there's an invader, and your body wants to get rid of the invader. But instead of striking a balance in terms of getting rid of the invader, the body goes into overdrive. And the body going into overdrive now, releasing chemicals, lots of cells, fever, weakness. Basically, your body cannot manage the onslaught of both things, the infection plus the body's own response. So we say it's normally an overwhelming response to infection that results in end organ damage. What that is like your vital organs, kidney. So all of a sudden you have the infection, the kidneys fail. The liver is affected, the lungs, sometimes you go into severe respiratory distress. So target organs, they all begin to respond, or they respond in a way wherein the damage is just too much and the body just caves in.
Just before Janella, talk to me about infections, because you could get infection from a cut, a regular little cut. So when you say infection, any kind of infection?
No, so it's not just like a little skin nick or anything like that. So normally, people have a source. So it's a serious infection. So you might have a pneumonia. That pneumonia goes to your bloodstream. You can have an accident. You're young, nothing is wrong with you, but you're meeting an accident. You have now large wounds, right? You've had surgery, and like abdominal surgery, and the gut bacteria and so on now is spilled into your gut, into your body. You have an overwhelming infection again. So normally it's something that is in the bloodstream. So you have an infection, it moves from the localized site, lungs, you know what, and then into the bloodstream. And when it reaches into the bloodstream, the body's like, no, you can't stay in my bloodstream.
Okay.
And normally it's, from that.
This is very close to home. And I mean, I only became aware of how dangerous it is, so to speak. How can we, as individuals, look out for it? What are some of the signs that we need to look for?
I don't know if you're one.
Sure. Okay. So sepsis is something that you can recognize by looking for things like fever. So it may be difficult because you can have a normal infection and have fever, but oftentimes persons are associated with confusion. They may have sleepiness, they may have shivering, they may have other signs where they are not responsive, right? So the whole goal of our promotion is try to get persons to recognize some of these signs and symptoms, right? So when you have an infection and you realize something is really wrong, it's getting out of control, you need to present to a doctor.
Is it restricted to wounds?
No, absolutely not. It can come from a wound, absolutely.
Okay.
But almost any infection can lead to sepsis. You can get sepsis from bacterial infections, like if a wound is infected, or as Dr. Miles-Saunders had mentioned, inside the abdomen, if there's something, or something like a pneumonia. But you can get it from COVID, you can get it from viruses, you can get it from all kinds of infections. Yeah. What ultimately is happening is that the body is responding inappropriately to this infection, and it is an overwhelming response. The immune system is great. We use it every day to fight all the things around us, but when things get out of control, it can actually harm our bodies.
Dr. Lydia, I was reading, preparing for this.
Right.
According to the WHO, sepsis affects nearly 49 million people yearly and causes 11 million deaths worldwide. Quite prevalent.
More than stroke, more than heart attacks.
What about locally? What's the prevalence locally?
The prevalence is so right now there are campaigns out to drive more data where sepsis is concerned. I think our data is not completely together. So I think there is even more work for us to do in terms of looking at, from the governmental level, how many of our patients are actually dying from sepsis. I don't have a number to give you, but I am sure that it is still up there within. So the thing is that, for example, when she was asking about infection, like patients who come in, it's normal, like urinary tract infections in elderly males. When you work on the floor, you'll see it. A lot of times, the older males that just come in, they're weak, that they didn't eat today, that he was running a fever, and him just stop eat. Or even middle-aged males, right? So you see it in front of your eyes, but to get a figure, I think there's a lot of work for us to do where the epidemiology is concerned in Jamaica to come to numbers to say this is what we are fighting.
I asked you earlier if it was just any little cut, and you said no. But Dr. Jerome kind of said it could be any little cut.
Absolutely. Because, in fact, there was a doctor who came to our lab one time who was just touching one of the plates. He had a cut on his finger. And within hours, you could see his hand beginning to swell, the redness just going down. Luckily, he knew what to do and started antibiotics early.
How would I know, sorry to jump in, that I have a cut and it is infected? I mean, I can have a cut, I know I have the cut, I bleed and I put a Band-Aid on it or whatever. When do I know, or how do I know it's infected?
Signs of infection. So you can have a cut and it's not infected, because it's not grossly swollen, red, it's warm, it's angry. So whenever something is infected, normally it gets angry. Swelling, redness, and then a lot of pain, right? However, sometimes like a small cut, it all depends on the bacteria, or it all depends on what is causing the infection. So infections are not equal. You have, just like how you have different people, you have different types of organisms, and some of them are bad boys, right? And so it all depends on what is causing the infection that will drive it to sepsis real quickly.
In addition, there are persons who are vulnerable. So particularly those persons who are at the extremes of life, the elderly, the young, up to 20% of neonates, of persons who die from sepsis are neonates.
Wow.
Right? So
20%?
Up to 20% of the persons who die from sepsis are neonates. Right? And we have actually experienced this in our country. We have had neonatal outbreaks from infections, and many children died, right? So it's a very, very, very serious thing.
I just want to stress, so if not treated, you will die, pretty much.
I don't know about any sepsis that is left untreated, that doesn't. So you have sepsis and then it will progress to septic shock. So it's almost like your body has an infection, it becomes septic, right? Your body is responding, your body is now fighting on its own, no antibiotics, no fluids, nothing. It is going to progress, right? And the death rates are really high. If it is left untreated, 60, 80%. And even in countries where, the resources are good, you have deaths 15 to 40%. So left untreated, sepsis is going to kill people. But so, you need to get treatment.
What about cost? Because so often on this program, we hear people have to do this and they don't have the money and it's 10 million and they have to go foreign. What about cost? If somebody, by the way, is sepsis a death sentence?
No.
So it can be cured.
So up to a quarter of persons with just sepsis will die if untreated.
Quarter.
Up to 80, as Dr. Malsonda said, if you go on to the later stages of sepsis, like septic shock, you can, the mortality rates go much higher.
What kind of cost we're talking about?
High. So somebody with sepsis, they require a lot of care. Ventilator support, right? ICU, right? And so a lot of times when the body goes like that, it shuts down. The kidneys stop working, so you need dialysis. Your respiratory system is shutting down, so you need to be on the ventilator. Your blood system, your whole circulatory system is shutting down, so you need what we call inotropes. It's just something we give you medication to kind of bring the tone and volume of blood flowing through the body up again. And those things are expensive. The antibiotics are extremely expensive. So much so that some of the antibiotics that we even need in our country, they're not available because of cost. Right?
Wow.
So sepsis is big business. In the US, they spend billions, probably up to 34 to 50 billion, you'll see quoted. More than heart attacks and more than stroke to care for people with sepsis.
I know you want to tell me about the symposium, but wow, is this a lifestyle thing? Is there something that we eat can cause infection in our body and all kind of thing, or no?
Okay, so you do have to practice, normal preventative measures like hand washing, good hygiene. Those are things that are going to help keep you well, especially if you have a chronic illness, if you have diabetes or something else. You must be very vigilant. You have diabetes, take good care of your feet.
Right.
Make sure you don't get infections there, right? So these are the kinds of things that regular people need to be doing, but you also have to recognize sepsis when it happens so you can get to the doctor, have them check you out, and make sure everything's okay. Start you on antibiotics, get that IV therapy going if necessary.
Tell me about the symposium.
Okay, so just like any other topic, stroke or autism or whatever, we want to bring a lot of awareness to sepsis. It kills so much people. And when you say sepsis, people like sepsis, they don't know what you're talking about. So you're really going to come to Ambadon, because we want some opportunities to share with the public. So our symposium, it's mostly for people within the medical field. It's going to be September 21st, right? It's going to be virtual, so a lot of people can join. And for those who seek continuing education credits, then there's also going to be an ethics component this time around. Last year we had a mental health component because it affects people, caregivers as well as people who are ill. And so this time around it's going to speak about the ethics surrounding it. If somebody is overwhelmingly septic, the ethics surrounding like discontinuing their care in the ICU or, so on. So we're going to have that symposium and people are free to join. We'll share the Zoom details, I assume, and then...
September is Sepsis Awareness Month. The entire month, September 13th is World Sepsis Day.
Yeah.
And during the month of September, we will be going to libraries, we'll be going to schools, we'll be doing other promotional activities to try to bring the awareness, like being here this morning. Thank you.
Thanks for coming and well explained.
Thank you.
God bless you both.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
Yes.
Can't do without you.
And thank you for the dress in advance.
Your time.
Okay, thanks again. That was University Hospital of the West Indies resident microbiologist Dr. Lydia Miles Saunders and consultant microbiologist Dr. Jerome Walker.
10 minutes to your health. We'll do it again next Thursday.